Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Fights. Tonight's triple header comes to you live from Pala Casino, nestled in the Palomar Mountains, about 53 miles away from San Diego, California. And as always, Friday Night Fights is presented by Corona Extra. Got a great night of action, but it all starts with our main event, where Marvin Quintero was able to finally clear all the visa issues and make it on time for a same-day weigh-in. Everything was good with Rustam Nagaev, and we're ready to go. We'll give you details about the drama as the night progresses. But we're ready for some action here on Friday Night Fights as the fighters make their way into the ring. And this is Michael Balasi, a fighter out of Hawaii who is a former kickboxer, fighting at 147 pounds. He's undefeated in Hawaii, but he has yet to win off the island. He's actually been knocked out in his last two fights, both against undefeated opponents, both in Southern California. So he's looking to break away from that bad stretch here on Friday Night Fights. He's a 23-year-old southpaw who stands 5'6". His opponent tonight is Dusty Hernandez Harrison. He's a three-time national junior Golden Gloves champion, amateur career of about 197 fights. His dad said he'd have 400, but his mother didn't approve of his amateur career. He turned pro at the ripe old age of 17. He's had 8 fights last year, and his second fight of 2014 was the win over Tim Witherspoon here on Friday Night Fights in January, and he just jumped right back into the ring. He's looking to make a name for himself and earn a world title shot in 2015.
Your referee in charge is Pat Russell. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner.
Wearing the black trunks, he weighed in at 147 pounds with a record of 10 wins, 3 losses, 7 wins, coming by way of knockout from Honolulu, Hawaii. Please welcome Mike Balasi. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the white with red. He weighed in at 147 pounds. He is undefeated with a record of 20 wins, no losses, 11 wins by knockout. From Southeast Washington, D.C., he is Dusty Hernandez Harrison.
6 rounds. Come on out, Mike. Come on out, Mike. All right, this is a little high right here. It's right to the center is the line. This is the line right there. 6 rounds. Touch them up. Good luck. Come out at the bell.
Well, Bernardo, first of all, the bad news. The bad news here for Balasi, well, he's probably going to get knocked out. The good news, he gets to go back to Hawaii after he does.
Mouthpiece.
You always find a silver lining,
And a
Teddy.
mouthpiece, Mike.
That's always important.
I try my best. When you've been in this
Mouthpiece, Mike.
business,
All the way back in
you're
the
looking for the
right
silver,
now.
wherever you can get it.
Well, Dusty Harrison actually won a Silver Glove championship twice. 2006, he got the 85-pound title, and in 2010, he was a 132-pound champion. He's filling out, and as a 19-year-old, he weighs 147. The big question is how long he can stay at this weight class without moving up to 154, where the punches are harder and the guys take a better punch.
Yeah, that's not the question for me. I got to be honest with you. The question for me is, when's he going to start fighting better fighters? That's the question. Because whether he's 19 years old or 17 years old, which is what he was when he turned pro, or whether he's 147 or 154 as he grows, and I'm sure he'll grow into a junior middleweight with that frame that he has, but it doesn't matter. He's going to be able to handle this kind of opponent. He should be able to handle a soft diet that they've been feeding him. It's when he steps up with tougher guys, better fighters. That's when we're going to find out something about Dusty Harrison.
All right, we're holding now. Let it
The
go.
big litmus test that all fighters eventually have to face. If this is it, then he's got to rethink things. But the southpaw's coming to do one thing. He's coming to try to upset the apple cart against the 19-0 Dusty Harrison, now 20-0 Dusty Harrison.
But it's a tough way to try to come and say legitimately you're not an opponent, as Balasi's trying to say, and come to upset an apple cart when you've been knocked out in your last 2 fights. And both by undefeated fighters, but undefeated fighters with less experience than Harrison. One was 10-0, and the other also 10-0.
Dusty Harrison, as we were talking about early on, a great amateur pedigree. Almost 200 amateur bouts at 197 with 166 wins.
And only 38 amateur fights for Balasi. One of the reasons why this is supposed to be one-sided.
Balasi tends to throw wide punches. Dusty a lot more crisp with his 1-2 combinations, using the ring well so far.
Look, the reason I don't think this fight should last long, but more importantly, more to the point, I don't think it better not last too long if the 19-0 Harrison wants to be considered a serious talent and prospect. Because Balasi, as we've said, he's 33 years old. He's had gaps of almost 4.5 years, 2.5 years, 1.5 years, and 1.5 years. And he's been knocked out, as I said, in his last 2 fights. And he took the fight on 4 days notice. So for me, if Harrison wants to really be considered a true prospect, an up-and-comer, somebody to look out for, he needs to do what the last 2 guys did with Balasi. He needs to get rid of him.
Needs to look impressive tonight, and in order to impress you, we invite you to get on Facebook and go ahead and vote. You guys have the power to give the round to either Hernandez, Harrison, or Balasi. First round coming to an end, but it's only beginning in the studio with Todd Grisham.
Thank you, Bernardo. I am indeed in Bristol, Connecticut, as we get set for a great night of fights here on Friday Night Fights. As for what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be talking about the world of boxing. We're going to look back at what happened and look ahead to what's going to happen. As far as the looking back part goes, last Saturday, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and Brian Vera went toe-to-toe in a very entertaining slugfest. Teddy Atlas will tell us if he was impressed by Chavez and what his future holds. And then we'll look ahead to tomorrow's big showdown in Vegas. Canelo Alvarez back in the ring for the first time since his loss to Floyd Mayweather as he takes on the hard-hitting Alfredo Angulo. A full preview coming up. Please be a part of the show tonight by reaching out to me and former Ring Magazine editor Nigel Collins on Twitter. I'm at Grisham ESPN. He is at ESPN FNF. We also encourage you to score tonight's fights from the comfort of your home or wherever you may be on our Friday Night Fights Facebook page and clicking the scoring app. That'll do it from here. For now, we send it back ringside to Bernardo and Teddy.
Box.
Thank you, Todd. And since you're handing out Twitter handles, mine is at Osuna ESPN.
Let me write that down, please.
Yes.
Write that down right now.
And Dusty's is at Dusty30th. So everyone's waiting on you, Teddy. What's the update on that?
There is none.
There won't be one, right?
Ain't happening.
I tried, fans. They keep telling me, when's Teddy going to get on? The answer is nunca, never.
Well, the answer for this fight is Harrison has 2 opportunities. One on the outside with that longer reach, which he's not using right now. All he's doing is grabbing right now.
I got it. Stop.
On the
Frank,
inside.
take a step. Take a step. Let him out. Let him out. Mike,
he should be able to be the boss with the jab in the right hand. Control that range.
There it is. The uppercut lands perfectly. He had landed it previously and then held on to the rope. As the referee administers the count. And this is what you were talking about, Teddy, getting after his opponent.
Well, getting rid of his opponent. We didn't get to that point yet. And let's see what kind of finisher Harrison is. Again, with a 33-year-old opponent who's been knocked out.
Don't hold that head.
His last 2 fights. So right now, Mr. Balasi is in a bad place. Look, physically he's in a bad place, but mentally he's in a bad place because he's in the same place he was the last 2 times he was in the ring. No man's land. Disneyland.
Got knocked out in the 2nd round by Santillán and in the 4th round by Alex Terán.
Look for that right hand now from Harrison. They land with lefties. And there it is.
Oh! The left against the right-handed fighter. He got caught. He got careless, Teddy.
5, 6, 7, 8. Come here. You good? Yes. Box.
That's why when you fight a lot of soft competition, as Harrison has been fed,
Let him go. Let him go, Dusty. Stop.
Like this. Let's see how, very interesting now, how Harrison, again, who's had a real soft diet.
Punch your way in and out.
Of easy layups, easy opponents. How does he behave now? He doesn't know. We don't know. We're going to find out.
45 seconds left here in round 2. And this interesting round if you're scoring it when both fighters go down. Dusty Harrison seems to have his legs under him, but needs to be careful because that overhand left
Break. Watch your head.
perfectly on the
I got a
chin
headbutt, no
by
cuts.
Balasi.
Yeah, but why did it catch him? It caught him, Bernardo, because he gave up his height. He was thrown from a distance that was too close. A distance where, again, where he can get caught with the shorter man. Not fighting tall, not fighting on the outside, not getting full extension on his punches, and not snapping the jab, pushing the jab.
Balasi proving that he's got nothing to lose here in round 2. Be interesting to see what our Facebook fans say on that round, where Dusty Harrison struck first, and then it was Balasi who landed a brutal left hook. His father is in his corner. Teddy, time to take a look at exactly how things happen here. Balasi going down first.
Well, let's look at Harrison. More of a push, to be honest with you. The right uppercut that you talked about, that really missed. And then he pushed him with the missed left hook. And then the left hand, that's a legitimate knockdown. And the reason it came, take another look. Look at that jab. That jab is pushed out very slow. What's it do? It allows Balasi to get into range, get close to the taller man, and unleash a left hand. That's why I like fighters to snap their jabs, Bernardo. When you're pushing your jab, you allow, you invite, you open the door, you put the welcome mat out for an opponent to get close. And I think part of the reason is fighting all these weak opponents. I don't believe in it. I believe in some when you're building a guy up. I know he's only 19 years old. I get it. But he's 19 years old with almost 200 amateur fights. That's a big difference. So you don't have to fight all those weak opponents, because when you do, you develop bad habits. You get away with things. And tonight, he was doing the same things he gets away with other guys. Pushing the jab, looking for one punch, and guess what? Pay the price.
Yeah, at some point, you're going to find someone who either punches as hard as you, and if you're not prepared properly, that's exactly what can happen. Here's the third round. Hernandez Harrison with the trunks in white with black trim and red stars. Balasi from Hawaii, coming off of 2 knockout losses, but put Hernandez Harrison on the canvas in round 2, and Hernandez Harrison trying to hold there instead of using his distance, as Teddy has been so ardently saying.
Doubt in the mind and in the long body of the undefeated Harrison. Wondering if he's going to be okay.
Step, box.
And right now, maybe missed opportunities for the opponent. The 33-year-old Balasi, who's supposed to have no chance, knocked out his last 2 fights, not getting after Harrison while that doubt is still there. Before that doubt starts to evaporate.
Now he's starting to land the right hand.
Well, it's starting to evaporate. That doubt starting to disappear a little bit, because Balasi giving him an opportunity to gain his confidence back. Balasi right now acting like an opponent, waiting, thinking too much.
All right, we're holding. Let him go.
Both guys have doubt. Different kinds of doubt, Bernardo, but doubt. Balasi, can I really do this? I was knocked out in my last 2 fights. Harrison, am I all right? Plenty of opportunities for Harrison to win the fight, even in the wrong place. He's in the wrong place. He's inside with a shorter guy. But that shorter guy throws wide punches, and Harrison can punch in between.
I got it, stop. Right,
or he can grab and wait to get on the outside, which he does.
When Hernandez uses his legs, he's in a better spot, but then he gets himself caught. And that's where his opponent Balasi is doing the most damage. Balasi got the shorter arms, but he's trying to out-jab Hernandez Harrison.
Don't go back
I
in
don't
on
see
me,
the
Dusty,
jab.
okay?
Maybe you see
Box.
it, but must be an invisible one. I don't see a jab from anyone. That time I saw a jab from the taller man. Harrison needs to use it more if he's going to be the taller man. Behave like the taller man.
We're halfway through this fight here on Friday Night Fight.
Time.
The king.
Across the poker table, you may need a lead for the heading, because this is Phil Ivey, who is the co-manager of Dusty Hernandez Harrison, and he's won the World Series of Poker 9 times, coming off a big win in Australia, over $3 million. And he said that his biggest attribute has been mental strength, and he's been trying to pass that along to Hernandez Harrison.
What would he know about mental strength in the ring? Come on, I mean, I have a pretty good patience and tolerance for a lot of baloney, but mental strength playing poker and playing cards with somebody saying, you know, I have 3 of a kind, or I have a full house, is a lot different than somebody who's throwing damn punches at you.
That is true. That is true, but he will also participate tonight in Teddy Atlas's fight plan, so you do not want to miss that.
And he didn't need any mental strength for that because we pulled all our punches. I mean, mental strength, he's going to pass mental strength to a fighter who's in the ring with his very being threatened every day of the week when he spars and then when he gets in the ring because he plays cards.
But what makes
that just becomes a little bit too much for me.
Whoa, 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 I got to step out.
What he should do is tell some of the other managers that he's investing with, let's put this kid in with better fighters. When I was playing poker, when I was coming up as a poker player, I had to play really good poker players. And sometimes I got my backside handed to me. But guess what? I learned. This kid needs to learn by fighting better guys. That's what he can do to serve this fighter.
Hey, don't
when we talk about better guys, the best in NASCAR will be around on Saturday as NASCAR drivers head to Nevada for the 3rd race of the season at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Las Vegas next Saturday, March 8th at 4 on ESPN 2.
Don't leave me, both of you. Mike,
also watch
Justin,
it live
free him up. Let those hands
watch
go. Free out.
ESPN.
Step out.
2 ways that the undefeated and untested, at least until tonight, he's been tested a little bit, Harrison. Showed hard, he got up off the floor. He does have a 33-year-old who hasn't really jumped after him, but he has shown some tolerance for pain, some tolerance, and some ability to overcome some diversity so far. But Harrison, really what he needs to do is draw a line in the canvas, use that jab, control the outside, use the jab to set up right hands, and then if he wants to give up a little ground, step back, make Balasi reach, and then show how good a counterpuncher you are.
Let's take a look at Teddy's scorecard. That 2nd round, 8/9 Balasi. Both fighters were down on the canvas, but the 1st and the 3rd go.
Want me to tell you why I gave it
Harrison.
8/9? That's an uncommon card. I know that. A lot of people are going to say, Teddy, what are you drinking at ringside? But I know what I'm doing.
I got to stop. Right,
That
take
was
a
a real
step back.
knockdown. He was really on the floor. The other guy wasn't a real legitimate knockdown. That's why 9-8.
Get a little bit of that grease up. I'll let you grease up after.
Back with you from Pala Casino Friday Night Fights. The doctor's taking a look at a cut over the left eye of Michael Balasi from Honolulu, Hawaii. 10 victories all in Hawaii, 3 defeats, all outside of the island. 1 in the Philippines, the other 2 here in Ontario, California by knockout in his last 2 fights. But both of these fighters have been down in round 2. First it was Balasi, then it was Hernandez Harrison. And here we are in round 5.
You just reminded me, Bernardo, thank you, for why Balasi has so many darn gaps in his career. I told you he's got almost 4.5 years, 2.5 years, 1.5 years, and over 1.5 years. Because where's a better place to be inactive than Hawaii? I mean, if you're going to be inactive, you might as well be hanging out in a beautiful place with palm trees.
You can't beat Hanauma Bay or Waikiki. But also, when you look at it, he's only had 5 fights since 2010, so that inactivity sometimes shows, but so far he's holding his own against Dusty Hernandez Harrison, who now works the distance, looks at that cut and controls with that right, then goes to the jaw.
No gaps for Harrison. Give him credit for that. Fought less than a month and a half ago, fought 8 times last year. That's how you develop and how you create a fighter, staying busy. Maybe being busy is helping.
Yeah. We saw Balasi almost turn his back on his opponent after a nice right uppercut by Hernandez Harrison. He gets up on time. And the 3rd man in the ring, Pat Russell, allows the fight to continue. There's 1 minute and 35 seconds left. Beautiful right hand that's whipped around by Hernandez Harrison. Once again, getting careless.
Yeah, but listen, Bernardo, you just said that was a straight right hand. That landed. The one, you used the right word, too. Whipped around by Harrison. That's why it meant. because he's whipping it around. He's throwing it from the side like a sideline or sidearm pitcher instead of straight down the middle. Again, from the side, it lands on the glove. Again, doesn't land clean because it's from the side. If it's straight, it will land, and this fight will be over. A lesson, again, for Harrison to learn and his people to give him and teach him when they get him back in the gym after this fight. That's how you develop a fighter.
You watch the videos and you learn from your mistakes. And right there, an opportunity to maybe put the fight away against Balasi, who's proven to be dangerous already with the wild left hook. Hernandez Harrison now working from a distance.
Well, see, yeah, he was dangerous. You're right, Balasi dropped him, but Harrison allowed him to be dangerous by allowing him to get close and by being careless with his jab, or very lackadaisical with his jab. Now Harrison doing a better job of snapping that jab, keeping the range he wants to keep with both his jab and with his legs.
Big learning experience then for Hernandez Harrison here on Friday Night Fights. Back-to-back presentations. He was on here against Tim Witherspoon in January and back here against Balasi as round 5 comes to an end.
Time.
Let's take a look at what Marvin Quintero, our main event fighter, had to go through in the last 48 hours. He spent all day Thursday dealing with visa issues. At 8:30 this morning, he was the first in line at the Mexican consulate in Tijuana, finalizing his visa. At 9:35, the paperwork was complete. He crossed the border. 11:35, he arrived at Paula Casino. 20 minutes later, he weighed in at 142 pounds. 3:45, the physician exam here at the venue. Went to get some rest. 5 o'clock, he began his warm-ups. And here we are on Friday Night Fights. And he'll be coming up in tonight's main event.
You know, I've been pointing out Balasi coming in here off 2 knockouts as an opponent. 14 years older than Harrison. And I've been pointing out some of the flaws of Harrison. But to be fair, and I always want to be fair, I should also point out to the people out there watching Harrison that might be saying, well, you're right, Teddy. He doesn't look quite the way we want a 19-0 prospect to look like with a 33-year-old opponent. But even though Balasi took this fight on 4 days' notice, and that would be a hindrance, obviously, to him, what's a hindrance to Harrison is he didn't have much time to prepare for a southpaw. So be fair about it. Right now, Harrison in there with a lefty who, about 4 or 5 days ago, he didn't know he was going to be fighting with a lefty.
Well, let's take a look at what the scorecards unofficially look like so far midway through round 6. And Teddy, you've got it 48-44 for Dusty Hernandez Harrison. That lone second round going for Balasi, while the Facebook viewers gave 4 rounds to Hernandez Harrison and just 1, also that second round, to Balasi.
I got it. Step out, break, don't hold.
You guys are
step, now go.
Together in this, Teddy.
We always are, me and the fans, except when we're not.
Except when they get it wrong, right?
No, I can get it wrong too.
Although
we usually always agree. We're, you know, one way or the other. I believe in the fans, and I think the fans, for the most part, believe in what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to bring across, which is, for the most part, get fair decisions, treat these fighters right, get the right judges out there, get the right administrators in this sport, treat these fighters nobly, the way that they deserve to be treated, the way other athletes are properly treated in other sports. And I think for most part the fans understand that. And right now what is understood is Harrison using those legs and his length to keep separation. And the right hand, every once in a while, that works with a southpaw.
We're taking a look at the punch stats numbers, and Hernandez Harrison has thrown twice as many punches as his opponent, was able to land at a higher clip at 28%. More importantly, apart from that knockdown, the harder punches.
A lot of work left to go for Harrison if he's going to have the kind of career that his people want to and think he will. A lot of work to do.
It would seem that Dusty Hernandez Harrison is on his way to his 21st professional victory at age 19. The judges will have the final word when we come back. Back here on Friday Night Fights, where our first fight of the night Dusty Hernandez, Harrison, and Michael Balasi exchanged knockdowns. First, it was Balasi landing with the left hook. Then it was Harrison with somewhat of a push. And then no push there. It was a nice left hook. Perfect. Got lazy with that jab and the right hand, and he paid the price. But then, in the 5th round, nice combination punching in the right. Put down Michael Balasi, who once again got up off the canvas. And it goes to the judges. According to Teddy's scorecard, it's 58-53 with that 8-9 round going to Balasi. And you, the fans, on Facebook have it 5-1. 98% and 100%, very high margins in the last 2 rounds. We take it up to the ring with Mark Lichtenfeld for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, judges Max DeLuca and Thomas Taylor both score the bout 59-54. Judge Alejandro Rochin sees it 60-53 for your winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Dusty Hernandez Harrison.
So it seems that neither of the judges gave that 2nd round to Balasi. Dusty Hernandez Harrison improves to 21 victories as a pro. Todd Grisham is in the studio.
Thank you, Bernardo. You know, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has gone on record saying he wants to fight the man that no one else seems to want to fight, Gennady Golovkin. But is Chavez ready for Triple G? This past week, Chavez with a unanimous decision victory and a hard-fought rematch against Brian Vera. Many felt Vera won their original contest. With that said, let's welcome in now Teddy Atlas. And Teddy, before I bring up a potential fight against Triple G, let's look back this past week. What did you make of Chavez's performance?
Well, it was pretty simple. He was in better shape than he was the first time. And, you know, that doesn't make him Jake LaMotta. It doesn't make him even his father, Todd, because he's not that level of a fighter. We should get that straight. He's a tough kid with a lot of heart who engages you. And when he's in there with another tough guy, like Vera, who's in front of him, who he can hit, who engages him, well, it's fun to watch. And that's what he was. And when he's the bigger man, well, he has a better chance to win. And most of his fights, he's the bigger man. And that helped him against Vera. Yes, he was the bigger man. But don't you dare put him in the same sentence as Golovkin, because he's not that level. He gets eaten up by Golovkin in 4 rounds.
But, Teddy, they're talking about it July 12th, maybe at the Forum in L.A. Julio Cesar Chavez versus Gennady Golovkin.
Because they want to make money. Because they want to make money.
Well, that's why people do fight. They want to make money. They want to be champions. So if you were advising Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who would you want him to fight next?
Well, look, if he's going to get paid the right amount, you cash out. You cash out, you go for Golovkin, and you get paid. Otherwise, there's a lot of fights, whether in Mexico or whether in Texas, that can be more evenly competed fights. You know, more comparable fights that brings a fan base. They don't always have to be with a sensational name or with a sensational talent. And I think Golovkin is probably a sensational talent right now. They can be with fights that have a following. And there's plenty of fights out there where there could be just a good following, and they could be safer for Chavez. Yes, we want to make money, but how fast? How quickly? Let him fight a couple other fights, and then, well, like they do here in the casino, bring all the chips to the table.
Well, we know Chavez has a great jaw, and he'll probably need it if he does fight Golovkin. Also on Saturday night, Vasyl Lomachenko came up short in his bid to become a champion in just his 2nd professional fight. He lost to Orlando Salido. Teddy, I know you're a big fan of Lomachenko. What did you think of his decision to fight for a championship so soon?
Listen, I'm not changing. I don't go back on my word. If I think I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. I wasn't wrong. I thought before that fight that he would win that fight with Salido. I thought that it was the right fight. And now after he lost, well, I think it was still the right fight. It was the perfect fight for him, the perfect style. I don't care about the low blows and all that stuff that was going on. He's a crude guy, Salido being he. A crude guy, a wide guy, made to order for Lomachenko. But you know what I didn't depend on? You know what I didn't bargain on? I didn't bargain on Lomachenko not being ready for the moment. With his 400 amateur fights, with his 2 gold medals in the Olympics, I thought he would handle these hot lights in that moment a lot better. And he didn't. He looked too much. He posed too much. He was too defensive. He thought too much. And there's one thing he did too little. He punched too little. But proof for me that it was the right fight was in the last 2 rounds, especially the last round, Lomachenko took him apart. He started moving his hands, and he started dismantling Salido. But it was a little, too late.
Well, the future is still bright, I'm sure, for Lomachenko. Teddy, the future is bright for you, too, because we'll have you back on coming up a little later on, so stand by. We appreciate it. If you watched us last week, then you saw our middleweight Boxino tournament kickoff. 8 fighters and 4 fights. Was it as exciting as the prior week's lightweight version of Boxino? Here's a look back. You be the judge. Boxino 2014 middleweights.
Tremendous surge of offensive blows to the body. Oh, there's a good left hook. He timed it perfectly, and Edward went down hard.
Adam.
Extracted a tooth from his own mouth, did his own dental work in the middle of a round.
Hey, that's hardcore stuff. You should get around just for that.
Monroe!
It's a jab that hurt him again.
Right. And he's making it sort of a ramrod, like you would use to knock the door down.
Oh, TKO victory, Obolenko. Oh, he got caught there. As they're swinging away, and he gets right back at Katika. Good action to open up this fight. And he's taking shot after shot here against the ropes. His head going back. It's over. Katika has advanced in Boxino.
So our semifinals are set. It takes place April 18th in Verona, New York. It's 160 pounds. While our first round fights were 6 rounds, these will be 8 rounds. Don't you dare miss it. Tomorrow marks the 43rd anniversary of the first meeting between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. It was billed as the fight of the century. The bout, one of the most anticipated events of the century, and it transcended sports. All those who consider themselves anti-war were with Ali, who refused to go to Vietnam, while most conservatives were cheering for Frazier. Both men entered undefeated. It was close until the end. Round 11 on, it seemed like Frazier started taking over, and in round 15, Frazier landed a spectacular left hook that put Ali on his back, breaking his jaw. Ali got up, but the damage was done. Frazier won by unanimous decision. They would, of course, fight 2 more times, with Ali winning both of those contests. That happened 43 years ago tomorrow. That'll do it from our studios. We'll see you in a few minutes, but for now, it's time for our second fight. Back out to Bernardo.